and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Everyone was saying how much they were enjoying Daphne running around in the background, but she's just been settling in. She quite likes the bookshelves. I think they serve as a bit of a protection for her. Don't they all serve as protection for us all? Meaningful. Today is my November TBR. November quickly becoming one of my favourite months to do some reading in November. It's the slope down into Christmas, isn't it, which I love, and it's my birthday month, which I also love. So I've treated myself to a few sort of rereads this month and some sort of exciting stuff. So I'll start with, well, speaking of rereads, I'll start with the book club books that I'm going to be reading. So first of all, my Patreon book club is Anne of Green Gables this month by Ellen Montgomery. This will be the third time I've read this. I've read this edition. I listened to the audiobook, which is narrated by Rachel McAdams, which is very, very good on Audible. And yeah, so for November this month in our Patreon book club, we normally in November, I pick a couple of books that are like my favourites, and they're normally rereads. And well, they are rereads because they're my favourites, and everyone gets to vote, and this was the one that won this time. So I'm so excited to revisit this and just have a lovely cozy time with it. There she goes. Bye. Hello. And yeah, I can't wait to read it and have a lovely time. Like, this does feel like a sort of perfect birthday reading for me. I'm really, really excited about it. So yeah, if you would like to join in Patreon book club, there will be a video going up shortly about the Christmas Patreon book club. Patreon book club started as a Christmas book club, and a lot of people joined for that, and then we had such a lovely time I ended up doing it all year round. So David and I will be doing a video talking about the books that we could be reading for Patreon book club. We always pick two and then one each, and then there's a vote. And you always have to join by the end of the month, and you also get November as a little bonus month. So if you're excited about Christmas book club without even knowing what the books are, and you think, oh, amazing bonus, I get to read Anne of Green Gables, then all the links down below are there to sign up to Patreon book club if you would like to. It's $5 a month. We have a lovely time. So that's the first book club book. And then the next is that I've set up a book club within my choir. However, I haven't even told any of them what book we're reading yet. So we meet termly for the choir. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a book at the end of each term and the book at the start of each term, which means that you get the sort of like Christmas holidays to read the book, the summer holidays to read the book, the Easter holidays to read the book. That's how I think I'm going to do it. But the book we're going to be reading for this term is Weirdo by Sarah Pascoe, which I got out from the library, and I just thought it sounded good fun, and also is set in the run-up to Christmas, so get your ears around this. Deep in Essex and her own thoughts, Sophie had a feeling something was going to happen, and then it did. It's December, the festive season looms, and Chris has entered the pub and re-entered her life, just when Sophie had finally stopped thinking about him and regretting what she'd done. Sophie has a chance at creating a new ending and paying off her emotional debts, if not her financial ones. All she has to do is act exactly like a normal, well-adjusted person and not say any of her inner monologue out loud. If she can suppress her light paranoia, pornographic visualizations and pathological lying, maybe she'll even end up getting the guy she wants. Then she can dump her boyfriend Ian and try to behave like someone who wants to enjoy Christmas. So yeah, I thought that sounded like a good one to read on the run-up to Christmas as well, so looking forward to that. Then I've got some more fiction that I thought would be quite sort of seasonal, or maybe things that I'm looking forward to reading. So I've picked, similar to my little sisterhood edition of Anne of Green Gables, I picked up a few of these as the years gone by. They don't publish these anymore, so if you see them in bookshops, get them, because they're not making new versions of it. There's a whole host of books. I've already read Anne of Green Gables in this series and The Little Princess, which is here. They're so adorable. Look how cute and lovely they are. And I earlier this year bought The Railway Children, and what's the other one I bought? I bought two. Oh, Heidi. I think I read The Railway Children when I was younger. I'm certainly sort of familiar with the story. I don't know anything about Heidi. So yeah, I'm going to read The Railway Children. When father is suddenly taken away, Roberta, Peter, Phyllis and their mother leave London and set up home in a little country cottage. Every morning the children wave at the 9:15 London train, hoping it will carry their love to father. Little do they know that the kindly old gentleman passenger who waves back holds the key to their father's disappearance. Adorable. Sounds really, really nice and cozy. So there we go. Then I've got a book that I started reading last November, got as far as page 68 and then stopped because December crept around and I read Christmas books in December. So I really enjoyed what I read of this and need to go back into it. So we'll be starting from the beginning because I can't remember a thing. It's an epistolary novel, a novel told through letters, and it says here, it's set in 1893 and Henry Nettleblack has to act fast or she'll be married off by her elder sister, but leaving the safety of her wealthy life isn't as simple as she thought. Ambushed, robbed and then saved by a mysterious organisation, part detective agency, part neighbourhood watch, a desperate Henry disguises herself and enlists. Sent out to investigate a string of crimes, she soon realises that she's living in a small rural town with surprisingly big problems. When the net starts to close around Henry and sinister forces threaten to expose her as the missing Nettleblack sister, the new people in her life seem to offer her a way out and a way forward. Is the world she's lost in also a place she can find herself? Told through journal entries and letters, Nettleblack is a subversive and playful ride through the perils and joys of finding your place in the world, challenging myths about queerness, particularly transness, as a modern phenomenon, while exploring the practicalities of articulating queer perspectives when you're struggling for words. I think it sounds great. From what I remember, I really, really enjoyed it, but had to get to Christmas stuff. So there we go. That will be coming back on. Then, I've already started this, so I'm on the 4th book of the Christmas Chronicles. This is casting off. It's the Second World War has ended and we're sort of looking at what life may be like for the people that have made it through the war, how different life is for them and how different they have become because of the war. We're following the Cazalet family here, so we read the first book of this series in the summer for Patreon Cozy, for Patreon Book Club. I keep saying Patreon Cozy Reading Night, that's because there's one coming up in December. I vowed to, once I found out that the 5th book was set over Christmas, I thought I will read one of these books, one of each of the series on the run up to Christmas, and then reading the 5th one around like in December when it's Christmassy. So yes, this is number 4. I'm really enjoying it. I've read the first chapter so far. I've just got to the 2nd chapter, which is called The Girls, set in 1945. I've had a wonderful time with these this year. Like, this has been so good. The 3rd one, which I finished last month, was my favourite so far, so I'm hoping this holds up. So far, so good. And then I was recently sent Chain Gang All-Stars by Nanakwame Adeji Brenya. I was sent this. Books in My Bag were kind enough to send me the authors that had been shortlisted for the Breakthrough Author Prize in the Books in My Bag, the Books in My Bag Awards. And I'd read 3 of the books. It was I'm a Fan, Yellowface, and oh my god, what is that book called? With Elizabeth Zott in it. Lessons in Chemistry, but I hadn't read or even heard of this, so I was very excited, and because I loved those 3 books, I thought, well, any category that includes those 3 books that I loved plus this, like plus something I've never heard of, surely I'm going to love it. So it says here, welcome to Chain Gang All-Stars, the popular and highly controversial program inside America's prison system. In packed arenas watched by millions of live stream viewers, prisoners compete as gladiators for the ultimate prize, their freedom. Fan favourites Loretta Thurwar and Hamara Hurricane Stacker are teammates and lovers. Thurwar is nearing the end of her time on the circuit, free in just a few matches, a fact she carries as heavily as her lethal hammer. As she prepares for her final encounters, as protesters gather at the gates, and as the programmed corporate owners stack the odds against her, will the price be simply too high? So I did read the first chapter of this and thought it sounded really sort of like pacey, and I need to get back to it because, well, I'm going to start again, but yeah, I think this is the month for it. So then I've got a few little rereads because it's my birthday month. I mean, we've already included a reread, Anne of Green Gables, and then there's 2 more coming a little bit later on, but because it's reread month, well, reread, it's my birthday month, and I just like to sort of like immerse myself in coziness. Daphne's looking at me, I'm just being so cute. Come over here, Daphne. Do you come and say hello? Your big microphone head. You're such a beautiful blue girl. Yes, you are. So I thought I would reread some stuff that I love. So the first thing I'm going to reread is this called the Midwife book, which is called A Labour of Love, and it celebrated the 10-year anniversary of Call the Midwife. So Call the Midwife has come on, I think, we're about to go into series 13, I think, and this is written by Stephen McCann, who plays Dr. Turner in the series. It's got some beautiful, it's like a fan fave, so if you're a fan of the book, it's got some amazing, if you're a fan of the series, it's got some amazing sort of photography of the characters through the years, some behind the scenes stuff, and then loads of stuff about the sort of how the series was made, and all stuff about costumes and historical accuracy and medical accuracy, and a study of sort of the like women's medicine through the years, and I love the series, and I bought this, like, oh no, I think David got me this, or maybe Minnie got it for me for Mother's Day last year, RIP Minnie. and I loved it, and I thought this would be a lovely month to reread it, so I will be doing just that. And then I heard Jen talking about When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit by Judith Kerr, and I've read this once. Again, sort of like cosy autumnal vibes from, weirdly, a book about escaping your country, and I loved this, so I would like to reread this again. So yeah, we all know what this is about, do we? Maybe not. Suppose your country began to change. Suppose that without your noticing it become dangerous for some people to live in any longer. Suppose you found to your surprise that your father was one of those people. That's what happened to Anna in Germany in 1933. Anna is too busy with schoolwork and tobogganing to listen to the talk of Hitler, but one day she and her brother are rushed out of Germany in alarming secrecy, away from everything they know. Their father is wanted by the Nazis. This is the start of a huge adventure, something frightening, very often funny, and always exciting. Judith wrote When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit based on her own journey, so that children would know where she came from and the lengths to which her parents went to keep her and her brothers safe. This commemorative hardback celebrates 50 years of this extraordinary story. And then an absolute fave. So my favourite book of the year last year was Slug by Holly McNish. This is a collection of poetry told from Holly McNish, and I loved it. It's really like sort of poetry for me, because it comes with like sort of passages of what this might be, what the poem is about, and then does the poem. And I really need that sort of context. The poems that are involved in here are, there's a whole chapter about poems about bleeding, which is very helpful because I'm on my period at the moment. Poets about ending. There's a lovely section in here about poems about her nan who died, which I remember when I read this the first time, I was really like, oh, felt it. Poems about growing up, about parenting, about mirrors, about masturbation, about blood, as I said, and about strangers. And I loved this, and it was such a revelation to me. And I went to a talk that Holly did as well, which I loved. And Holly's got a new book coming out in January, so I wanted to reread this before the new book come out in January. So this month is the month for it. And then another favourite of mine, which I've read a few times in November because I always just treat myself to it. So this comes with a sort of accompaniment. So this is Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland by Sarah Moss. This is a book about, a non-fiction book about the writer, Sarah Moss, who's written The Tidal Zone, amongst other things, relocating herself and her young family to Reykjavik for a year in 2009. They moved there because she got a job there for a year, and yeah, it's all about her sort of relocating and what's that like for her and her family, and it really sort of studies different aspects of the move: food, healthcare, what it's like for children, education, job, climate, lifestyle. And yeah, I really loved it. I really love sort of like relocation stories. I'm really interested in Iceland. I would like to get there, and I thought this would be great to read. And then the other day when I was in to reread, oh god, and then the other day when I was in London with Jenna Mercedes, we went into Daunt Books, where the books are arranged by country. Such an amazing idea. And this sounded like the perfect sort of collaborative read with this book. So this is called The Raven's Nest, an Icelandic journey through light and darkness by Sarah Thomas. And similarly, this is a non-fiction book about somebody relocating to Iceland. Visiting Iceland as an anthropologist and filmmaker, Sarah Thomas is spellbound by its otherworldly landscape. An immediate love for this country and for Bjarni, a man she meets there, turns a week-long stay into a transformative half-decade, one which radically alters Sarah's understanding of herself and of the natural world. She embarks on a relationship not only with Bjarni, but with the light, the language, and the old wooden house they make their home. She finds a place where midwinter moon reflected by snow is brighter than daylight, where the earth can tremor at any time, and where the word for echo, bergmál, translates as the language of the mountains. In the midst of a crisis both personal and planetary, Sarah finds her inspiration in the artistry of Raven's Nest, a home which persists through breaking and reweaving over and over. Two Sarahs relocating to Iceland. Love to hear it. And then somebody kindly bought me this from my wish list, and it's something I've been coveting for a while. You know I love a bit of sort of food non-fiction and essays and things like that, and I've read Rebecca May Johnson's writing before in a collection. Here we go, in this collection. Oh no, is it this collection? Yeah, In the Kitchen, essays on food and life. So I'd already knew that I loved her writing, and then I saw that this had come out. This is called Small Fires. It is about it says an epic in the kitchen, and it says Rebecca May Johnson reinvents cooking, that simple act of rolling up our sleeves, wielding a knife, spattering red hot sauce on our books as a way of experiencing ourselves and the world. Cooking is thinking about the liberating constraint of tying apron strings, the transformative dynamics of shared meals, the meaning of appetite and bodily pleasure, the wild subversiveness of the recipe beyond words or control. This joyful revelatory work of memory and meditation both complicates and electrifies life in the kitchen. It shows us the radical potential of the things we do every day, the power of small fires burning everywhere. Sounds amazing. Why do we cook? Is it just to feed ourselves or others, or is there something more revolutionary going on? And for me, cooking is like something that's really calmed me down over the years when I've been feeling particularly anxious. Just having a recipe in front of me and having those sort of steps to follow, and sticking to those steps. And then maybe on days where I don't want to stick to those steps and I haven't got what I want, so I'm putting something else in there, like a can of pineapple or something like that. And I just think, yeah, and this just sounds great to me. So very exciting. And then the last book, which is the most exciting book of the month, it is that time again. It is time for Nigel Slater's The Christmas Chronicles. This is a book that I read every year. It is split into little diary entries, little excerpts to read throughout the winter months. It actually, I say it's my favourite book. I think I've only ever finished it once, because it runs into, like, as far into, I think it goes into March. No, February it goes into. So it has a little diary entry for many of the days between the beginning of November and the beginning of February. Like sort of like preparations for Christmas, preparations for winter, over Christmas, and then after Christmas. It includes loads and loads of amazing recipes and loads of amazing photography, both food photography and otherwise. I mean, I don't eat meat, but here we go, here's a lovely photo of a leg of lamb, if that's the sort of thing you're over, but also things like this, which are beautiful. And yeah, it's just become a real sort of ritual for me. There's lots in here about rituals. Nigel does a lovely bit about rituals in here. And I put on a bit of sort of like a Plinky Plonky Christmas playlist, which involves Plinky Plonky Christmas music, and I sit and I read it. And sometimes David will make us a cup of tea and he'll sit and listen to me read it aloud. But yeah, this has become a real sort of special Christmas moment for me. So yeah, we're going on to, so I've got to read the introduction, and then the 1st of November, which is entitled, I love that there's loads to read on the 1st of November because the introduction is big too. The 1st of November, which is entitled, she'll get there, A Toast to the Winter Solstice, and this picture with all this sort of stewed fruit. But yeah, it's a really special thing for me and I look forward to it every single year. So yeah, very exciting month of reading in November. Cannot wait to read all of these. Will she get through all of them? I've high hopes, I've high hopes. Cozy month now, isn't it? It's all cozy times. But yeah, let me know what you're planning on reading in November. Is your reading taking a bit of a maybe winter turn, or thinking about Christmas, maybe thinking about a few Christmassy bits? But yeah, can't wait to hear what you're reading, and I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!